Let's talk all about AI in business. It's hosted by Brent Muller. Welcome to the Future Proof Podcast.
Hi, and welcome to Future Proof, the podcast where we decode how founders and execs are working smarter by using systems, automation, and AI. If you're looking to future-proof your business, you're in the right place. So let's welcome today's guest, Steve Cassidy from EOD Gear. Steve, welcome.
Hey, Brent. Thanks so much for having me on the show. I'm honored to be on with such a great list of folks you've had on before me.
Yeah, no, we're excited. We're excited. You're gonna. This is gonna be a fun one. Hey, real quick before we dive in, we always do our plug. Is if you're a founder, leader, or C-suite exec, and you're feeling the pressure to grow faster with leaner teams, we're constantly developing new leading edge micro AI solutions. So, like last week, we helped a client save over 30 hours just for one small AI implementation. So if you want to see where AI can unlock a bunch of hours for you or increase your lead flow, we do free 30-minute collab sessions. Just check the show notes links and we'd be happy to talk to you. But let's jump into today's episode. Steve, let's start. We always jump right in, talk about your background and how you leading up to EOD Gear, because you have some really cool, great background. So.
Man, it's kind of nuts. It's I'm going to go around my thumb to get to my elbow, but
That's all right. That's all right.
Yeah, I was your classic solid C student. I think I made my first C in third grade, and I was like, well, this isn't going to be my last.
Yeah.
But I actually,
you know how many founders and CEOs say have that same story. So yeah.
Oh yeah, we suck at school. But ironically, I ended up playing football at Tennessee Tech University, which is academically up there with Vanderbilt. And so I ended up playing football there. I tried out for the Cowboys, and they're like, wow, you're big, strong, and slow. Get out. And everybody's like, hey, are you going to try out next year? I'm like, no, I don't like lifting weights 8 hours a day. And yeah, it was a job. So I woke up one morning and joined the Navy, and actually had orders to class 199 of buds, but a case of beer got me out of it, and I ended up in bomb disposal. Because when I met those guys, I felt they were more my people than the SEAL team guys were.
Right.
And kind of reference, I was an offensive lineman. And so when I was out with the SEAL team guys, it was like going out with linebackers. So there was just this natural conflict. But then I met the EOD guys, and I'm like, yeah, these are my people.
I love it.
So I did that, but had a lot of injuries and a lot of it, skydiving accident, busted up my ankle pretty bad, but ended up getting
you got a little adrenaline in you too, a little adrenaline junkie, just a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. I mean, I was even, I did executive protection outside the season. So I was with Don Henley, Ozzy Osbourne, all those guys, because we're here in the Nashville area.
Yeah. I was going to say, you're right in the heart of Music City. So.
So yeah, just went into EOD. Of course, all of us have top secret critical nuclear weapons design information clearances, presidential protection. So we would do what we call VIPs. And so I went to Warsaw with Bill Clinton, got to go to Yasser Arafat's headquarters in Ramallah, Palestine with Madeleine Albright. And of course, then when I got out and moved back here, everybody's like, hey, I can get you plugged in with all the musicians to do bodyguard work. I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
not your jam, right?
No. So I got out, but I've always been entrepreneurial, and even started a small business while I was still in, worked that for a little bit. Starter wife didn't really like the business. So I became a stockbroker, and I was a stockbroker for about 6 weeks. And then the Bank of Switzerland called and brought me over there. And so I was at the Bank of Switzerland for about 3 years. So it's that normal transition from Navy EOD to banking.
Stockbroker?
Yeah. It's an easy transition.
Yeah, and, I would imagine.
So went on that way, brought in, they asked me to do investment banking, which there was a minimum of $100 million. And I brought in 4 opportunities in excess of that, and they wouldn't do them because I was that guy from Nashville. And I was like, well,
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually threatened to come to Manhattan and stand on a guy's chest for him. He got a little too snarky on the phone, and of course my manager was on the phone. He's like, "Dude, he'll do it." And so it's I didn't have to, but another bank wrote the bigger opportunity, and I was like, "Well, I'm not going to do this anymore." So I went from the Bank of Switzerland to Blackwater, and did some ops with them. And then I was on the QRF for State Department for explosive ordnance disposal. So I was a diver and defuse bombs for the Navy. That was kind of what we do. It's called Navy EOD. All four branches have EOD, but we're all divers. We're all airborne, jump out of airplanes, helicopters, and just have
on the ground or right into the water.
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I spent a lot of my time working in SOCOM around SEAL Team Special Forces and doing mission sets with those guys, and great, fantastic guys. And but just ended up getting out, too many injuries, and fast tracked back around into defense, and then started seeing kits that were being made for bomb techs. So I always had my little kit that I carried,
right?
And I saw some of the kits that were online, and I was like, well, that's all garbage. And so I started making my own and started EOD Gear, and it just really kind of grew out of that. I originally started the company for training, but the gear side really took off. And so I was smart enough not to get in the way. And so just over time, really focusing on old school blocking and tackling as far as SEO. So I think now we have 250 keywords we rank number one at, and we pull excess of 1,600 visitors a day to the site. And so it just grew from little bomb disposal kits to armor and ballistics and shields, and then dive gear, and then expanding into humanitarian demining, other accessories. So we work with the federal government, we work with DOD agencies, SOCOM, CIA, FBI, ATF, National Nuclear Security Administration. And so we've just kind of grown this. And then over that time is adding credentials and past performance to your work. So in 2014, we were shipping demining equipment to Africa for demining operations over there. And it was to be handed out to the locals to do this.
Right.
And it's not great gear. But we had a GPS that we were sending them per the customer's request to teach everybody over there how to mark landmines. And they were accurate to 40 feet.
That's a big ass circle you got to draw.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, part of it was a set of binoculars, and I put it, and it was probably like 200 sets of binoculars. And the guy from the company, the manufacturer, called. He goes, "You're not giving these to our troops, are you?" I'm like, "No, they're." And he was like, "Okay, just making sure." And but yeah, it was bad. But a lot of the overseas stuff is hearts and minds. They're going to train people. Is the equipment great? No. But we ran that contract up, and the contracting officer was very happy with it. And then he wanted to add mine detecting equipment, but it ran the tab up to about $800,000 for that one order.
Oh, wow.
And he goes, "Everything looks great." Again, it's all based on past performance. And he goes, "What's your GSA number?" I'm like, "Hoss, we ain't on GSA." Right. And he goes, "Well, I can't give you the contract." And so hung up the phone, picked it up, said, "Hey, we're getting on GSA." But that took 2 years and 9 months.
I was going to say, that's not a quick process at all, right?
Yeah, It's horrible. Yeah. So,
but then once you're on, right, then you're golden, but it just takes forever, right?
You still have to market. You have to do the marketing. You have to do the
within the government, right? Okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I mean, like even today, I'm emailing people and saying, "Hey, we're on GSA. Not that this is a GSA buy, but it's kind of the good housekeeping seal of approval."
Right.
So the paperwork's horrible, and I really wish AI was in place then, because thank God I had a great executive assistant who could just do paperwork. But I don't like doing it, but I will do it. So from there, I'm a disabled veteran, so we have that status. That has never gotten us a contract ever. Not one. So, but it has a real pretty logo we put on the website. And then we picked up ITAR, which is International Trafficking and Arms Restriction Registration. So now we're able to export. And so we picked that up. Then we picked up our ISO 9000 quality assurance certification. And then we got our federal firearms license as a manufacturer and our federal explosives license as a manufacturer.
Wow.
And so now we just started working on, it's called NQA1. It's a nuclear quality assurance plan, similar to ISO, just horrifically more detailed. And so
just what you want to be bogged down in paperwork, right?
More paperwork, right. And audits and oversight and everything else that goes. I don't know what I was thinking of going, "Hey, let's do business with the government. It'll be fun." And but no, we've been very fortunate, because not only do we do federal, but we also do municipal, and then also international with whoever our allies are at the moment. Right. And so whether it's State Department or Department of Justice or NGOs doing humanitarian demining around the world, really good folks out there. So we support all those agencies. But then we started manufacturing some small light stuff back in 2000, and it's just grown. Now we have CNC mill, CNC lathe, we have a bank of 3D printers. So it's just continuing to grow to make specialized tools for EOD. So the goal for us is we were supplying to the end user, but now the stuff we make, we're also supplying competitors.
Okay.
And now we're also supplying the people who have oversight over explosive ordnance disposal across DoD as a whole. So kind of the goal for the company is to maintain all those relationships from direct to consumer all the way up to the governing bodies that dictate who gets what.
Right.
So that's kind of where we're at.
And so, I was looking at your product line. I mean, you guys make so many different things. It's amazing. Now that you have a wholesale play with competitors, right? Which is actually a pretty smart move. What turns you to doing that? Is it just because your manufacturing process and products are that good, and that they realized, hey, it's better to instead of join them instead of beat them, right?
Well, no, I think the other side is we have competitors that are not bomb techs, and so I have a laser calibrated eyeball. So when it comes to quality assurance, I mean, if you're a bomb tech, it's kind of required.
Yeah.
You might want to know what you're looking at. But the other thing is context of conversation. So I understand what the end users are doing and what they need. And the customers also know that. They can say, hey, we need this. I go, yeah, I got it. And, we get those requests all the time. They're like, hey, do you know what a Mark 663 is? I'm like, yeah, I have one. And they're like, they've never heard of it. And I go, so it's one of those, being able to understand what the customer wants, because I think clarity of message is so important, because I know there's a lot of smart people out there making stuff,
right?
But they can't message to the end users, us knuckle draggers who are out in the field.
100% agree with you. By the way, that's not just your industry, Steve. That's across the board. Across the board.
I know some really smart guys. Like, I was on the phone talking about a blasting machine, and it turned into quantum communications and spinodal decomposition. And I go, I played football at Tennessee Tech. I studied business, not engineering. Right. And but now, unfortunately, I know what spinodal decomposition is and can explain it. So,
well, maybe you're better at using ChatGPT than they are, right? Because to me, you're like, come on, how do I explain this to a high schooler, right? Because that's how messaging should be. Right? Then you can always go deep, but messaging, right, to get you on the same playing field, right? An engineer's got to learn how to talk to a human, and maybe AI is the bridge they need, because I've had those conversations too, and it's mind-boggling.
Well, a lot of it's pathology as well. So if they could have an AI model that overrides pathology, because I love smart people, but sometimes they're more concerned about letting people know how smart they are rather than selling the product.
Exactly.
And which is why I want to go sell the product, because I'm never going to be that smart. Don't care to.
I don't care to either. I'm with you, right? I want to have a ton of smart people in the room, but let me do the messaging, because they're usually not good at it. Yeah.
So that's kind of where our strong point is. But I also understand that the people I have here are very driven towards attention to detail and are that smart. Yeah. And so I rely on them to take the load off of me, so that I can focus on those few things I need to do.
Yeah, I totally get it. So,
so you were talking about how your business can save somebody 20, 30, 40 hours a week. If you're that person who are working 89, you need to take advantage of that.
Yeah, there's so many little things you can do now that you know what it is? It's the mundane task that you just don't want to be bothered. Like you were talking about, thank God you had that executive assistant that was good at the paperwork. But imagine if she didn't have to do that and she could help you do something else, right? And she could do that in an hour instead of, weeks. Some of that stuff takes weeks. Writing RFPs and all that kind of stuff. That's what, to me, anybody listening that knows me, I always say that the AI that's right now the best thing you can do is just get the mundane stuff so you can do the important work. So tell me a little bit about, so your manufacturing process is really badass, and I went deep on all of your stuff, but tell the audience about kind of how you see emerging tech, because there's all kinds of different emerging tech that people even don't know about, but that you're using to make your products better. How do you see that going?
So even with our e-commerce site, if you go to search, you can actually pull up a camera within the search, take a picture of an item, and it will identify it using AI and pull up all the matches within the catalog.
Very cool.
Because we also manufacture this is another part I'm working on under the training side, is being able to use the search function to, if I'm out in Ukraine and I see a landmine, I go, hey, what is that? I could actually go to EOD Gear, take a picture of it, and it would pull it up in the catalog with a link on it to give you a physical description of how that thing works and the safeties you need to observe.
Really? That is really cool.
Then also offer the training on that virtually online. But then I also deploy within that system, I use 3D modeling and augmented reality. So I could take a picture of a landmine, pull it up in the catalog, and drop a virtual version of that right next to the landmine. It'll be the same size.
That is unbelievable.
That's kind of where, but that's all for user experience for the customer.
Right.
So like today, we got a request for 200 anti-personnel landmines for training. And I was like, but it was of one kind. I was like, hey, what else do you need? And then it's having those conversations, that depth of context of conversation we get to have. Now he wants us to make 155 millimeter howitzer rounds out of aluminum for training.
For training.
Yeah. So it's just this constant, we're going to keep feeding. And of course, that will be stuff that we add to the catalog. We'll add in 3D and augmented reality. It'll automatically plug into the AI search. So people will be able to go to our e-commerce store, which I don't mind them going to, using that search function to help them in the field to identify a hazard.
That's amazing. Yeah, I can tell you, I've been on a zillion e-commerce sites. I haven't seen anybody do that. Steve, that's really, really cool, especially in the field where they're out in the field doing this.
Yeah. We were exhibiting at SHOT Show last year, and we had an Egyptian general come up, and he liked our breaching equipment. So we have a door ram, and he was asking about it, and I was asking about which ones they have. And I was like, so I showed him the functions. I showed him how to get on the site, take a picture of it, and then pulled it up in the catalog. Then we used augmented reality to drop it right back on the table next to the door ram that we were selling. And I said, so all you have to do is when you get back to your headquarters in Egypt, you can pull this stuff up in our catalog, or pull up your stuff, compare it, and drop the augmented reality version next to the one you currently have. And
it'll do a side by side?
Yep.
Really cool.
Yeah,
really cool.
Stuff like that. So it's kind of like my old saying is, I'm never going to be a New York or the world's best writer, but I can be a New York Times bestseller.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
I'm excited for AI because ChatGPT and what's the other search?
Grok and Claude, and there's so many of them now, right? The models, right? Yeah, we play with all of them.
Yeah. So like instead of going to Google now, I can go to there and get answers.
Yes.
And then also being able to save time and deploy the information. And of course, for me to be able to say, hey, can you put this in 5 bullet points? Hooray.
Yeah. Yeah. And to me, Steve, I'm the same way. I'm like, just kind of synthesize it for me, summarize it, and I can consume a lot easier in 5 bullet points than I can. When someone sends you an email that's like a book, I'm like, oh, I don't have time to read this whole thing. Give me the 5 bullet points and it's great.
I like the old school guys that craft an email.
Yeah.
And I'll just reply back, yes.
Yeah. And it probably drives them crazy.
Oh yeah. And starting to use that to hey, what's this email mean?
Yeah.
And it's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And I wish we could apply that to government contracting, because all the FARs, the federal acquisition regulations, I'm like, it's just endless.
You're going to need to build your own custom GPT just for the government stuff and just train it on that whole bureaucracy mess. How you can streamline that a little bit different. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good product. You'd be able to put on your site because people would love that.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about, as you look out, what's the next, because we can't look out too far, but what's the next 1 to 2 years look like for you? I mean, is it increasing your product line? Is it, helping more government stuff, or where do you see your direction? Man,
that is a unique
loaded
question. Yeah, it's super loaded, because I think we adopt tech as we can, because I lean more into it than most people. But I think if you look at warfare and you look at munitions and you look at tactics and you look at drones or hypersonics and then defense, counter UAS or counter drone, counter submersibles, counter hypersonic weapons, and you start having to rely on that kind of technology. But I think for us, as that information comes in, what's going to benefit us is being able to rapid prototype. So there's a form called DD 2345. It's a Department of Defense form, but it allows us to exchange information with other customers or the government. And then with that, we can go into all these different groups and say, hey, you need something made, we can make it for you really quick. And, if it scales to production, but everything's changing so fast that I think us as a company, we're going to be able to use AI to streamline our process to turn it around even faster. So as the information comes in faster, we can't rely on old school tech to deliver the solution, because by the time you deliver it, it's already out of date.
Right.
And I think that's in warfare, which is where we spend our time. Is supporting the end users and the guys and gals on the ground, and making sure that they have all the assets and tools and information they need to make the right decisions as quickly as possible.
It makes sense. And I feel like you're spot on in the fact that in every industry, and the fact that you're highlighting it in this industry, just kind of feels a little validating, on my other conversations, is that things are moving faster than ever. And your ability to leverage that to keep up is really important. But I would imagine also, Steve, it means you got to focus more, right? Because you probably get requests coming in left, right, and center, right? And you can't do them all. And so do you kind of have a filtering mechanism, or where your high ROI opportunities?
So we have all our marketing is driven towards requests for quotes. And so we triage those based on, look, we started out selling direct to consumer. And I love that, because those guys, if they stay in, will eventually become commanders. Or senior enlisted, and they will be decision makers. So it's kind of difficult sometimes to deal with that on a retail perspective, but that's kind of where we started. So we maintain that. But as we move up into that process of the government contracts, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I don't know if I really answered your question.
No, you did, because to me it's I think a lot of founders and CEOs are struggling with that focus, right? Because if you have a bunch of products or service offerings, right, and you get these requests, but you have to move faster than you're used to, right? You have to leverage automation and technology to help you keep up, but it also is one of those things, is it's a tough decision where to focus. And I think it's a constant internal battle every company's having. And so I think the ability to categorize those, like in your case, the RFQs, and figure out where are the ones that are worth pursuing versus the ones you can't, because again, everybody's got limited resources and you can't do everything, but it's a good problem to have if you get too many.
It's a good case. It's triage. And I mean, so if we have a request for quote, somebody may be using their Gmail. It may be a higher dollar amount, but if somebody sends an email from their .mil email address, we're taking that first, because they're the government,
right?
And they're acting on behalf of the government, so they get, and that's part of the federal acquisition regulations too. If we have a contract comes in, a purchase comes in, and the government comes in and goes, "Hey, we're buying that same thing," they get front of the line, and so we have to do that, despite even if the other person came in before that. And so which causes conflict once in a while, not too often. But I think, being able to sort those a lot more quickly, I think is a good thing. We've implemented actually a membership that allows discounts. So those would be automatically pre-programmed in. So if a member comes in to buy something, they're already getting discounted, so they don't even have to worry about that. Hey, I'm a veteran, can I get a discount? Or I'm military, can I get a discount?
It's already there, right?
You already got it.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of those, but that's down on but trying to streamline that part of it on the direct to consumer, but make sure they're getting the stuff they need, because I know eventually they're going to be decision makers. Yeah. And we want to support the younger guys. It's not where you start, it's where you finish.
Yeah. I love that. And you basically had the value chain covered, right? From end user all the way up till where they become a big decision maker. So no, it's awesome. So let me ask you another question. I ask all founders this and leaders that we have on the podcast, but running a company is one of the hardest things to do. And again, nothing's better than having a great staff, which I'm sure that you do. But what is one thing, tip or trick that you have that you use personally, AI, to help you be more productive, that maybe other founders and CEOs would get value from?
I think, if I have to write content, like if I'm building a website or a page for a new product, or I'm doing a press release, I'll use ChatGPT just to write that super quick. I'll ask it other questions like, so today we have our Williamson County Chamber of Commerce coming in. They're responsible for bringing business into our county. So in our county, we've got Nissan North America. We just got In-N-Out Burger a year and a half ago.
Nice.
So they're moving their corporate headquarters to Franklin, Tennessee.
That's unbelievable.
So that's
Which is a phenomenal town. For anybody who hasn't visited Franklin, you need to. Franklin is, I love.
Yeah, Well, now you need to stop in here because we have a full bar, and then you get to see everything. And
absolutely. Oh, I'm definitely going to stop in. So yeah, But go ahead.
But yeah, I think I put in there and go. I haven't worked with a Chamber of Commerce. I'm a member of the Huntsville Chamber of Commerce, but these are the guys who are mainly driven towards business development, business recruiting. And so I just went on ChatGPT and go, hey, and it knows it's me because I pay for the premium service. And it goes, well, for EOD Gear, you should do this and ask for this and this and this. And I wouldn't have thought of that. And so now they're going to hate it too, because I'm going to pin them to the wall and in a nice way. But
in a nice way, but hey, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we're traveling internationally, and of course, ChatGPT knows that we have ITAR and what that means. So it just eliminated me having to sit there.
It's like your second brain assistant, like an assistant with a second brain, right?
It's like, oh, I didn't think of that. And then, when somebody says something, well, now it's telling you everything you didn't think about. But then you have to execute on that. You can't just leave it on the screen. You have to deploy that information. And so however that works for you. But I mean, if you're an executive and you're struggling with time management, I mean, we all do. I mean,
we all do, right?
Yeah. I mean, 5 years ago, I was ready to shut the business down. But I took a week off, went to Destin, sat on the beach, did not pick up my phone. And thank God for Josh, Kaylee, and Jacqueline, who are here. They've been with me 7-8 years. I mean, I can't function without them and don't want to. But being able to pull even more time savings by using AI is massive, because it just takes I don't have to think about it.
Yes.
Have you ever taken the Enneagram or the Kolbe A?
No. Now I'm going to have to. Tell me about it.
Yeah. Kolbe, Kolb. I don't put a, ad out for them, but it tells you how you solve problems. And so it gives you a 4-digit score. And so if you've taken
when you do a personality test and it gives you the 4 dimension, but this is for problem solving.
Right. So it's how you solve problems. So I'm a 4294. So it's a scale of 1 to 9. 1's not bad. 9's not great. It's not good, bad. It's just a scale. But my 9 is risk. And so I've maxed out risk. But so I'm a 4294. So the 2 means I'm going to shoot my laptop if you put me in front of an Excel spreadsheet. I can go out and talk to customers and I could ask complete strangers for money all day, every day, and never be exhausted from it.
Yeah.
But you put me in front of an Excel spreadsheet, you got about 10 minutes before I'm going to
lose it, right?
Yeah. But Jacqueline, my executive assistant, who's a rock star, is an 8822. Like, her risk tolerance is non-existent. She hates risk, but she loves data. And so
she's a perfect complement. Yeah.
Right. So she knows she wants to get all the data, but she gives it to me in 5 bullet points. So she should just take all that data, put it into ChatGPT and go, hey, give this in 5 bullet points for Steve. Yeah. And it will really help.
Hey, that makes you guys work together better, faster, more efficiently.
Well, I know how they solve problems.
Right.
So everybody in the staff's taken it. So I know how they solve problems. So
that's a brilliant idea.
I'm not trying to get them. It's kind of like why I enjoyed the Navy. They were like, hey, go do this. Okay. And you were just expect to go do it. But like in the Army, they're go do this. This is exactly how you have to do it. And I have plenty of bad stories, like just ridiculous stories, how I was insubordinate all day long. But they have to have their way. And I understand they have to have their way, but there's no creative freedom. But I think understanding how people solve problems will reduce your stress level, again, making your quality of life better. Because I don't understand why he does it. Well, if he just gets it done, who cares?
Yeah.
But that's kind of like AI. Well, I want to do all the research. Have at it. I would rather just type it in and go, hey, what do you think?
Right.
All day.
Yeah. And I talked to someone yesterday. She was telling me, or a couple of days ago, and she said the game changer for her was the deep research, because she hates doing research too. She said that deep research model has changed her whole life. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you feed the Kolbe score into your ChatGPT?
I have not.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I might do that.
Yeah.
See, and for everybody listening, like, look, again, no one's figured it out. This is why we do this.
Write that down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll send you, and anybody that's on my newsletter knows that I've sent the prompt out that Kim Mahan sent. It's called the AI Mentor. She really thought through this. It's my favorite, like chief of staff type AI prompt.
Yeah.
But I didn't think about feeding it the
Kolbe.
problem solving matrix, that Kolbe thing. I will absolutely do that and see if it improves it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll send you that prompt. You'll like playing with it.
Yeah. No, I love building out prompts. I built them for SEO. And so now I can just type in a couple words and it knows I'm building a page, and it will give me the description, the meta title, the meta description, the meta keywords. And then if it's a category, it'll give me the top 3 or 4 frequently asked questions for FAQ snippets, which are indexed by Google in a different way.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll do everything.
The amount of information that you can get back if you just tailor your things. Again, that's why we're building the micro solutions, because no one's figured it all out. There's so many things you can do. I think people are thinking that eventually, it's just going to figure it all out for you and they'll wait for that. I just think that's a mistake, because they're going to waste so many hours, right, between then and look at all the time savings. How long would it have taken you, Steve, to build one of those SEO pages alone?
I mean, I've been doing it for so long. I mean, that's why I'm pretty fast at it, but now it's seconds. I mean, less than a minute.
And think about that, right? Like, even if it took you an hour before, right? Look at that time saving every time you got to build a page. Like, to me, that's the compounding effect. So it's why we hammer this so much, because I think people are underestimating. I put a thing out the other day. A lot of companies have IT departments. They think this AI is an IT thing. It is not. It is a strategy to be used across your whole company in different ways. And you gave me 3 phenomenal ideas. So thank you.
Well, it's still garbage in, garbage out.
Yes.
You got to put the right stuff in. I mean, so
yeah, me too.
Yeah. So, but you still have to put quality data in to get quality data out. And I think if you realize that and go, it's a hammer, it's a screwdriver, it's AI. Advantage of it. Like, why would you not do that?
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree.
Listen, it's a tool. Use it.
Well, Steve, I know you wanted to throw some stuff out to your listeners, so please do, because you've shared so much great stuff today. Thank you so much.
No, I appreciate it. No, if you go to EOD-gear.com, that is the website. Do be careful on that. There's some really cool tactical gear on there.
There is some really cool stuff on there.
Why don't we do EOD-gear.com/future-proofed, and I'll have a bunch of goodies on there for folks, and maybe some AI prompts, or I want to see that. But yeah, I'll have some stuff here where you can get some swag from us.
I love it.
I just appreciate it, Brent. This has been amazing. I love the work you're doing, and hope everybody takes advantage of the info you're putting out.
Oh yeah, I'm just, our community is growing like crazy. We have great people, and the one great thing is there's just, we can't help each other enough, and I think that's the whole point. And great, showcasing great companies like EOD Gear and you, Steve, is just an absolute pleasure for us. So thank you for sharing your insights. Thank you for taking the time with us, and can't wait to get this one up and live.
Sounds great, Brent. Have a great one.
Awesome. Well, hey guys, that wraps up this episode of Future Proof. Future Proof what matters, automate the rest, and we'll see you on the next episode.
If you're ready to embrace change and lead with innovation, be sure to subscribe and never miss an episode. Thanks for tuning in to the Future Proof Podcast.